Merrill magic in Miami. Unbelievable stuff again for the Padres as this road trip and just remarkable second half continues for San Diego. 15-3 since the All-Star game, the best record in baseball since April 30th. It's going to be hopefully the hell of a wrap-up show here tonight. Padres win in 10, kind of listless through 7 innings, get a run in the 8th on a Manny Machado 2-out double, tie it on a Jackson Merrill game-tying home run in the 9th. We'll get more into that over the course of the next hour or so, and then score 4 in the 10th and are 4-0 on this road trip and continue to play some of the best baseball in the major leagues. So let's talk about it. And as you make your way in, as I always tell you, please subscribe. We have year-round content for you. This is the home of Real Padres Talk. We are leaving Jim in Europe until this team loses again. Truthfully, I think we should leave him there until the season is over just to be safe. Because if you remember, a couple of years ago, he didn't go to a San Diego State men's basketball game. They go to the national championship game. This year he goes to Europe. They go 6-0 while he's been gone. So, Jim, we'll see if we allow him back. Please subscribe tonight. I want to do an extended wrap-up show tonight if we can. I'd love to get to 6,800 subscribers tonight if we can. If you could help us get there, we would truly appreciate it. I promise you this. If we get to 6,800 subscribers tonight, we'll extend the wrap-up show out. We're about 50 or 60 subscribers away. If you're here live or on replay, please subscribe. We truly do appreciate it. The home of Real Padres Talk. Smash the like button for us. We got to get 500 likes tonight, right? Live or replay? Like, please, if you're here right now, like this video as the Padres win again in 10. That they have won 3 consecutive games when trailing in the 9th inning for the first time in franchise history. Just unbelievable. Follow me on X at John Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER. We will get to all of the super chats. It is a great way to support the channel and our work. Please click the $ below the chat box. As you know, when I do these solo shows, I can't keep up with the chat at all and do the show. If you want to make sure I see your comment, please consider a super chat by clicking the $ below the chat box. If you want to control the direction of the conversation, if you want to get your message on screen, if you just want to support the channel, click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. This is going to be a bit of the Jackson Merrill edition of the wrap-up show here tonight. Jackson Merrill, let's just take a deep breath here. Jackson Merrill is the first player in Major League history to hit 3 game-tying home runs in a 9th inning or later over the course of an 11-game stretch. Let me say it again. Jackson Merrill is the first player in Major League history to hit 3 home runs in the 9th inning or later to tie a game over the course of 11 days in the history of Major League Baseball, 150 years. And seemingly he's doing something like that each and every game. He hit a game-tying home run in the 9th against the Dodgers July 30th. He had a game-tying home run 2 days ago against Pittsburgh at PNC Park. And today, in the 9th, first pitch thrown in the inning, he hits a ball out to center field that ties the game at 2. First player ever in the history of the sport to do that. He does it again at the age of 21. There's much more, though, for Merrill if you're into the numbers. I love the numbers. I love how you can watch baseball for your entire life and see things that you've never seen before, even if you've watched the sport for thousands of days like we all have. And here's an update for you from our friend at MLB, Sarah Langs. This coming from Arraez Sports. Jackson Merrill has 4 game-tying or go-ahead home runs in the 9th inning or later this season, tied for the most in a season of a player aged 21 or younger with Mel Ott, who did it in 1929, nearly 100 years ago. So he's on a complete bender is the point. He's been unbelievable, and he's quickly become the player that's carrying the Padres in the second half. He's quickly become a leader and, essentially has taken over like captaincy. He's become one of the leaders and captains of this team during his rookie year. It's just unbelievable how Merrill has put this team on his back. He's doing it time and time again, as we just told you. And, you'd say none bigger than tonight, but I don't even know if that's true because he's had so many moments like tonight. This is probably the 4th consecutive day where I'm coming on the wrap-up show saying if they would have lost this game, we would have said woulda, coulda, shoulda, wasted opportunities, can't squander games like this against lesser opponents like Pittsburgh and Miami. But I'm not going to go down that route because they won the game and they found a way to do it. The pitching was outstanding in this game. They allowed just 4 hits in 10 innings. Martin Perez, I thought was terrific. You allowed back-to-back home runs on 2 pitches. But if you're going to allow home runs, like we always say, make them solo shots. And he kept them in the game and he gave him a shot. And in the 8th, They rally behind Machado. They had so many opportunities in this game. Padres hit balls hard. They couldn't hit with men in scoring position until it counted again in the 8th inning. And then the solo home run, of course, in the 9th inning. And then 4 runs in the 10th, including a clutch double from Manny Machado that scored a couple of runs, part of that 4-run inning. Tanner Scott against his former team closing the door in a 6-2 win. So people are making their way in. I see the super chats coming in as well. I'm going to get to all of them. Again, thank you for your support of the channel. Please subscribe. We're just getting going on at least an hour-long edition of the wrap-up show. Please subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans, the home of real Padres talk. Smash the like button. And again, follow us on X at John Schaefer. And thank you for the super chats. Just click that $ below the chat box. All right. Let's get to it, right? I mean, let's get this thing started. And let's do it with Jacob. Thank you, man. First super from the night is from Jacob, and I appreciate you, Jacob. I'm not sure if you've contributed before, but appreciate you hanging out and being with us here tonight. How about this? This is really fascinating. I hadn't thought about this. So the Padres' magic number to clinch a postseason spot is what I would guess, since they're still on the outside looking in the NL West, is 38 with 45 games to play for the Padres. So a manageable number is your point. I wouldn't think that it would be that low considering how bottlenecked it has been in the wild card race, but they're starting to get a little bit of separation between themselves and spots like 3 and 4 in that race, right? Arizona and San Diego have taken off, but they're creating some separation from teams behind them. So a magic number of 38 means there's work to be done, but it's very manageable. And we'll see if they're able to clinch a playoff spot here in 2024 or not. Yes, Mike Schultz saying post-game it was the A.J. Preller game because all of those players played a critical role, right? I don't have the tweet in front of me. I saw some of those post-game comments. Maybe A.J. Cassavell had it or Dennis Lin. Let me see if I can find that for everyone if you missed it. Was it from A.J.? Or was it from Dennis? Or was it from someone else? I get there's so many places where we get this information. And by the way, there's an update on Luis Arraez. He's been dealing with a torn ligament. That might be the lead. Dennis Lin, within the last hour, saying after tonight's game in Miami, Arraez revealing in Spanish to the media that the specific injury to his left thumb is a torn ligament. Dennis goes on to say, according to a source, Arraez was examined by a doctor during the All-Star break. He was told he could continue playing with the tear. So it's something to monitor. It's something I think a lot of Padres fans have been thinking about. I think since the All-Star break, he was hitting 262 coming into tonight. So he has not been the exact same hitter he was in Miami or when he first got to San Diego. And clearly it has something to do with that thumb. I don't have the exact quote. Someone can put it in the chat. But yeah, Mike Schultz saying post-game is the AJ game because all of the players that AJ traded for this year playing key roles in this victory tonight in Miami. Thank you again, Jacob. And thank you so much, Murray, for the super chat as well. He says, sorry, San Diego fans. My prediction was wrong. I'm human. But I didn't like the way we looked early. I will always love my Padres, but I will call them out. Yeah, Murray was in the chat, I think, on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube earlier today, and probably felt like a lot of Padres fans felt watching this game, that it was going to be one of those nights, looked a little listless, didn't do much despite having opportunities on offense, trailing as late as the 9th inning. It's just not going to be their night, right? Au contraire, because they pull another rabbit out of their hat. And like I said a few moments ago, it's the first time in franchise history they've won 3 consecutive games when entering the 9th inning trailing. Amazing to do it all on the road and then win these games in extras and be one of the better teams in extra innings in baseball, being one of the better teams in close games in baseball. I think the Padres in 1-run games, I realize that's not tonight, are now 15-12. A year ago, they were 9-23. So they're just different. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We don't need to kind of rehash that continually, but it's just something you think about. The extreme vast differences between the Padres of last year and these Padres. I mean, there's just no comp right now between what we saw a year ago and what we're seeing play out right in front of our eyes here in 2024. And I say that the sky's the limit right now and they can accomplish basically anything. Doesn't mean they will, but I think the way they're playing, like the best team in baseball, they can track down the Dodgers. They can win this division, and they can make a run in the postseason. Doesn't mean they will, but it's absolutely a possibility. I spent a lot of time yesterday on John and Jim talking about what Derek Togerson at NBC7 said on his On Fryer podcast, and he actually called in Then to John and Jim yesterday afternoon, he was like, this division's over. The Dodgers are going to win it. And I'm like, I completely disagree. Like, how can you say that based on how the Padres are playing? I don't even care about how the Dodgers are playing, truthfully. Just what I'm seeing from my own two eyes with the Padres, I cannot rule them out from anything, from accomplishing anything right now. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to go down some path where the Dodgers are getting healthier and the Padres, never vie for this division over the last 15 years. And they haven't been this close in forever. And eventually the Padres are going to be the Padres and the Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers. No, I'm sorry. Like, historical precedent doesn't matter to me. I don't care what happened in 2020, 2021. I don't care what happened in 2017. I'm just picking random years. What I care about is right now. Like, Luis Arraez wasn't here in 2017. Dylan Cease wasn't here in 2023. Some of those players wearing Dodgers uniforms weren't there a year ago. I don't care what they did in the offseason. What I care about is right now. And what I see right now, watching each and every night, is a team that is playing some of the best baseball in the majors, in the Padres, and they are tracking down the Dodgers. Doesn't mean they're going to win the division or beat them in the postseason, but it also doesn't mean they're not going to be able to accomplish some of those things in the days and weeks and months ahead. So, Murray, I understand it. I mean, a lot of fans are going through, similar feelings. I think you're watching some of these games in Pittsburgh. Oh, here we go again. It's going to be a close loss. But, like, you can't doubt these Padres right now. Like, they've proven so many people wrong. They've done this with such regularity and continuity that you just can't count them out. Simple as that. I mean, sure, like, if you're down 8-9 runs, okay, maybe they're not going to overcome a deficit like that, although they've done it one time this year against the Cubs at home. I think that kind of triggered what we've seen, their belief in each other. And it's just played out time and time and time again with the comeback wins and the late rallies and the multiple run comeback wins as well here in 2024. Ishmael, appreciate you, man. If you're here, subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans, and smash that like button. And thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box, like Ishmael, who says, hey, John, this team is on fire, but as a fan, I'm waiting for the negative run back to 500. LOL. It seems that's an old version of the Padres, right? Yeah, it's almost like there is that, like built in, what is that called? Like, it's almost like, a PTSD. It's like, well, I've lived through this before, therefore it's going to happen again, right? Like, you're unwilling to put 2 feet in the water. You want to dip your toes in because you don't want to go all in because you have this fear that you're going to have your heart broken as a fan. I think that's a decent way to describe it. But I'm arguing the opposite of that right now. If now is the time to let all the fandom out, to be the true fan, to believe, okay? Not because they are destined to win a World Series. Nobody knows that. It's possible. It's also possible it doesn't happen. But because why not now, right? Why can't this team do it based on everything that we're seeing play out here in 2024? If we get let down, so be it. You've been watching this team for years on end, and they've never won a World Series, yet you're still watching each and every night anyway. We're always going to go back to the well. You're always coming back. No matter what happens, good or bad, you're going to be there. That's what fandom is. You get mad, you get happy, you get sad. You have all the emotions. We go through it all. But at the end of the day, you're a fan of the team, and you're going to be here for better or for worse. So why not be there when it's for better, which is what's going on right now with the Padres. And the support from the fan base has been simply incredible now for years on end, since the Peter Seidler ownership, following his untimely passing. Even when things haven't been going perfectly on field and with their overall win-loss record, there's 40,000 people there. There's tens of thousands of people watching via stream. We have thousands of people consume this either live or on replay each and every night. So you're here. Why not enjoy the ride is the point. We don't know how the ride ends. That's kind of part of the fun. And that's the thing about sports. If it was played in the offseason, the Dodgers would have already won this thing. They spent the most money. They got the most fanfare. They had the most attention. Shohei Ohtani is the richest deal in the history of baseball. Okay. Yamamoto is one of the richest deals for a pitcher in the history of baseball. Okay. Teoscar Hernandez was a significant signing. Okay. They've had all these 100-win seasons. Great. Nothing's guaranteed. You got to step on field and do it. Not to say they're not capable, but who's to say the Padres aren't capable of doing something they've never done before? Like, until you've done it, you haven't, but at some point you break through. And I think right now the Padres are kind of breaking through. They're 15-2 in their last 17 games. For the third time ever in the history of the franchise, they can say that. 15-2 over a 17-game stretch. I think the first time since 2009. I think I saw that earlier today, either 2009 or 2005. I think it was 2009. Don't quote me on it. But I mean, it's been a while. They're doing things we don't see each and every season. And they're doing it right now in front of our eyes. So let's enjoy it and let's embrace it. That's what I say. And that's why everyone's here right now, live or on replay. Chucky D, appreciate you, my friend. He says, everyone enjoy a nice Tyler Wade style dirt sandwich to celebrate the win. Isn't it interesting how, like, he's stuck all year? He has made some winning plays. Mike Schill has sung his praises for months. He seems to just be involved in positive momentum for the Padres. Like, they seem to come out on top for whatever reason when he's in games. He kind of comes through in moments that you're not fully expecting him to come through. And he's not the only one. Like, we have sung the praises of a lot of these players on the edges, so to speak, the David Peraltas, the Donovan Solanos, Jeremiah Estrada claimed off waivers. It's not just Cease and Arraez. I said this last night. It's, again, the players on the periphery, on the edges that have, I think, been one of the primary differences between this team and some previous teams under AJ Preller. And he's had some decent teams. 2022 is a very good team. 2020, short season, not their fault, good team. They've had half seasons that were good. 2021 comes to mind, obviously, in the first half. But right now they're putting together a full season. I mean, on the backs, obviously, of what's happened here in the second half of the year. But I think a lot of it has to do with, bullpen depth. Rotational depth hasn't been the strongest, obviously, but the front of the rotation has been terrific. You're winning games that are pitched by guys like Martin Perez and Randy Vasquez, right? We're watching that play out. You're going to get Joe Musgrove back on Monday. We'll see what that looks like. I had Kevin Acee on John and Jim today. He said, don't rule out the return of Yu Darvish, so consider that. Keep that in your back pocket. That was something Kevin said here today. And then you got a lineup that contributes 1 through 9, and you got guys that are playing some of the best baseball in the sport, like Jackson Merrill right now, and Xander Bogaerts, and Manny Machado has been so clutch and impactful here recently. And then you've got, just constant contributors like Jerkson Profar, who's banged up but continues to come through for this team. You trust in Luis Arraez, even with that torn ligament that we talked about earlier here tonight. So, I think you have the pieces in place to make this thing very interesting and very fun over the final, 2 months of the regular season into the postseason. Tim Trussell, thank you, man. Someone wake up Sleepy Joe and tell him to void Jim's passport ASAP, persona non grata. I don't know. Can we get him on a do not fly list? Do we start a GoFundMe and say, just stay in Europe? We'll just give you like a couple grand every month, because when you're there, everything is good for the Padres. And when you're here, it's a complete shit show. I think it's something we should consider. And I'm kind of serious about it. He leaves after they lose to the Rockies in that opening game of a series at Petco Park. He was here that Friday night. He leaves on Saturday morning. They're 6-0 since. Took the final 2 games of the Rockies series. Go to Pittsburgh. It rains for 3 hours. They win behind Dylan Cease, actually behind the bullpen. Then they're trailing in the 9th inning. 3 days ago, they win behind Merrill. Then yesterday, they're trailing in the 9th inning, and they win in Pittsburgh. Today, they're trailing in the 9th inning. Merrill homers. They score 4 in the 10th, and they win it 6-2. Swiss Jim, stay in Italy. Started in Switzerland. Now he's in Italy. He's at some ridiculous wedding, Lake Como. It looks absurd. Take another week. Shoot, take another month. Shoot, we'll see you in 2025. If there's a parade, you can come back. Otherwise, we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. Joshua, appreciate you, man. He says Padres are going for winning 16 out of 18 games tomorrow, which has never been done in team history. Knock on something, Joshua. Let's hope. And by the way, after winning tonight, I like what you're saying here, because I think you bring up a really good point. I'm going to get greedy now. You guys know me if you've been here a lot. I'm never the one to say you're good, like expect a road sweep. But the way this team is playing, to Joshua's point, 15-2 in their last 17 games, 4-0 on this trip. I think they won the hardest of the 3 games of this series. That faced off against Cabrera, who hadn't been very good, but he goes 7 innings, doesn't allow a run. And you have Martin Perez, who, like, let's be fair, hasn't had the greatest year, even though he's been good now in a Padres uniform. That matchup, that was the Marlins' best chance, in my opinion. Now Matt Waldron's pitching on Saturday, and then Dylan Cease is throwing on Sunday. I think you've got a very good shot to not just win this series, but sweep this series, which would, of course, cap off a 6-0 road trip, which is ridiculous. And that's on the heels of a 7-2 road trip through Baltimore, Cleveland, Washington, which was also ridiculous. So go get greedy. Go sweep this series, keep the pressure on LA, create separation in the wild card race, remain the hottest team in baseball, get back home and play in front of playoff crowds essentially Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's the way I see this. I think it sets up beautifully. I don't think we're asking for too much. This team believes entirely in its possibilities right now, and they've got the pieces to prove it, like the starting pitching with Waldron and Cease coming the next 2 days. And let's be honest, this Miami team is not good. There's a hitter or two in the lineup that can run into a ball like Jake Berger. There's a starter or two playing in that ballpark that, again, could probably give you 5 or 6 innings and keep you in a game, but their bullpen has been kind of thrashed here recently. They've used a lot of it. They tried to get a 6-out save from a dude with 1 career save tonight with like a 4.7 ERA. That's not going to work against the Padres. And it didn't. He allowed 2 runs, 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, and they were done in by that. They don't even have a closer right now because he's on the San Diego Padres. His name is Tanner Scott. In fact, if the Padres don't make that trade, this is a little bit of 3D chess from AJ Preller. If Tanner Scott stays, you probably lose tonight because he's got a 1 ERA. If Tanner Scott's pitching the 9th inning, I mean, taking nothing away from Jackson Merrill, the dude is Houdini. He put nothing past Merrill. Anything is possible for Jackson Merrill right now, but you get my point. If there's a Tanner Scott on the mound with his 1 ERA, I think it's a little different than the dude that's trying to secure a 6-out save that's just kind of thrown into the spot because Skip Schumacher has no other option. Wow. What a night. What a game. Get here and subscribe, all right? Trying to get to 6,800 subscribers with your help. Please subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. We've had a handful of people subscribe here tonight. Smash the like button. We need 500 likes on this video. Padres have won 3 consecutive games, trailing into the 9th inning for the first time in franchise history. And thank you for the super chats. Just click that $ below the chat box. I want to tell you a couple more incredible stats as well as we continue on that I've seen tonight on Instagram from Sarah Langs, researcher for MLB. So I'll pull those up. I'll tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, coming up, and we will all just kind of react in unison to some of the ridiculousness that's playing out right now with the San Diego Padres. All right, let me get to this from Ishmael, then we'll tell you about our title sponsor, then we'll tell you about what the Padres are doing right now, which is just, rarefied air for Jackson Merrill and the team. Ishmael saying, if you were going to purchase your first Padres jersey between Machado, Cease, Fresnono, or Merrill, who'd it be? Or someone else? This isn't even close. Put it in the chat, by the way. If you're purchasing a Padres jersey right now, who are you purchasing? Put it in the chat. It can be anyone. Machado, Cease, Merrill, anyone. Put it in the chat right now. I'd love to see it. I'm sure Ishmael would like to see it as well. This isn't even a question for me. It has to be Jackson Merrill, the 21-year-old phenom who is in year 1 and under control for 6 years and needs to be extended out. That's a conversation for another day. Has to be the National League's Rookie of the Year. He's earned it. He's just earned it. He's at a point where he's doing more for his team than Paul Skeens has done for his. It's not as simple as that. But all things being equal, Skeens has had a great year. So has Jackson Merrill. And Merrill's doing things that have truly never been done in the history of Major League Baseball. And while Paul Skeens has had a great year, I could easily argue, and I have, that Jackson Merrill is having a better year, at worst a comparable year. And it's very easy to make the case without bias that Jackson Merrill is having a better year as a position player than Paul Skeens is having as a pitcher for the Pirates. So we can get into that conversation over the next 30 or 40 minutes as well. But I'm all in on Jackson Merrill. If I'm purchasing a jersey, authentic replica or otherwise, or like, black market, I'm purchasing a Jackson Merrill jersey. What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. If you're watching on replay, put it in the comments down below. And thank you, Ishmael. All right, we'll get back to the chat and the conversation in a moment. Do want to remind you about Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. We've been texting all night long, all week long. He is such an ardent Padres fan. He's been with us since day one on the wrap-up show, years and years now, each and every month. Such a big supporter of our work. If you support the channel, please support Mark Nimitz. I have homeowners, life insurance, and earthquake insurance through Mark. Think about that. 3 policies, and he has saved my family so much money and time. We had to file a claim in 2022. He saved us thousands of dollars. If you switch your insurance, he can save you $750 or more. He saved us thousands of dollars and dozens of hours of time. Truly, dozens of hours of time. If you click the link in the description down below, you're going to get to his website where you can get free quotes online, or call Mark. He'll talk to you about the Padres. He'll talk to you about your insurance needs as well. He's a great insurance agent. Take it from me. He's a huge supporter of this channel. He does auto, home, renter's life, earthquake, everything you could possibly imagine. Before you renew your policy, call Mark. If you're looking for information on a new policy, get in contact with Mark. He has been the title sponsor of the wrap-up show. Trust me, you're going to love it. He's saving you money and time, and he supports this channel and the Padres. So click that link in the description down below. All right, let's reset things here tonight. Padres in improbable fashion. You've heard me say it before. Win 6-2 in Miami. And you're like, what do you mean improbable? They're playing the lowly Marlins. Well, if you watched it play out, it was improbable. I don't care who you're playing. If you're trailing into the ninth inning, you have a less than 50-50 shot, and you have a less than 20-80 shot of winning that game. And the Padres have now won 3 consecutive games trailing, entering the ninth inning. And the way they did it tonight, again, you've heard me say this before, it's cliche, but kind of left for dead. You're in the 8th inning. It's 2-0. You've wasted opportunities. You haven't hit with men in scoring position. You've hit balls hard, but at fielders, you're like, it's just not our night. It's just, and there's 2 outs in the 8th inning. You haven't scored. Boom. Machado double. Back in it. But, tie it up there. Still, you're going to need something in the 9th inning. Jackson Merrill's leading off first pitch. Homer's just over the right center field wall, or the center field wall just to the right of center. I mean, it got out by, you guys tell me, it's 4 or 5 feet up that grassy lawn area. So the thing got out by, 4, 6, 8 feet. And that's all they needed. Once that happened, they weren't losing the game. You're just not with this bullpen, because you held Miami scoreless in the 9th. And then against some dude claimed off waivers from the Mariners with a 7 ERA in AAA Tacoma, it's just not enough. It's not good enough against San Diego. Like, they're going to capitalize, they score, and then Tanner Scott closes the door. And it wasn't a question for me. Once Merrill homered, the game was over. For me, they could have just waved the white flag. The 100 people that were there could have just waved the white flag after Merrill hit that home run. So that's the state of where we are right now with the Padres, just surging and playing as well as anyone in the sport. Still trying to track down those Dodgers, who tonight have won. Is that game going final? I'm at MLB.com. I absolutely hate the MLB.com scoreboard on their homepage. I know they're up 9-4, and they have won that game against Pittsburgh 9-5, despite being out hit. So they win that game. Paul Skeens is pitching this weekend for Pittsburgh, so hopefully they can snap a skid, because they just lost 3 to San Diego and now 1 in LA. I think we're rooting for the Pirates the next 2 days, and then they're coming to San Diego, and we're trying to hit everyone, because Jurickson Profar was hit 4 times in that series against the Pirates. We can react to that coming up as well. All right, let's get back to the Super Chats. And again, please subscribe, and thank you for the Super Chats. Click the $sign below the chat box, like that one. Homie's Garage. Thank you, man. Appreciate your support of the channel and the Super Chat. You've been a longtime viewer and supporter. He says, remember when Mike said we were playing for the division and everyone laughed? Schild has been doing what Bob couldn't. Yeah, he has held true to his messaging, to your point, from basically the start of spring training. Like, nothing's really changed with Mike Schild. He's had this internal belief that he stated publicly about his team. He hasn't wavered when they've had their lengthy 5-game losing streaks. They've had not just 1 or 2 or 3, 4 5-game losing streaks this year. Yet, at no point has that really chartered them off course. They've rebounded beautifully each and every time. Every single time they fall under 500, they're able to catapult back over. And now they've gotten to the point where you feel kind of good about them remaining well-positioned in terms of where they are to 500. Like, this team better not be falling back anywhere near 500. It's 65-52. They have 45 games remaining. I'm thinking more about them getting 20 games over than I'm thinking about them falling back to 4 games over 500. Like, this team is trending in the right direction. Their run differential is trending in the right direction. Yes, they're getting pressed by Arizona. Yes, they're on the heels of the Dodgers. Yes, there's a lot of work to do still to get into the postseason. But they've got the makings, and they're doing everything that they need to do. You can't ask them to do anything more than what they're doing right now. 15-3 since the break, 15-2 in their last 17 games. You can't ask for anything more than what they're doing right now. And also, Joe is coming back. Toddy, hopefully, cross your fingers, is coming back at some point sooner rather than later. So hopefully they're just bolstering this team in the days and weeks ahead. Jackson, appreciate your Super Chat. He says, thoughts on replacing Johnson with Tirso or Nealis? Yeah, I mean, here's my thought on it right now. I know Johnson was picked off first base in this game. I know he hasn't really hit. He's been like a bunter and a defender. I guess that's why he's here. He's the 26th man on the roster. Here's my theory on it from a team perspective, Jackson. If it ain't broke, I'm not fixing it. He's been here. They're winning. Not because of him, but he's here and they're winning. And clearly he hasn't, quote unquote, weighed them down. And again, I think I could absolutely argue the merits of making a replacement. That would be easy to do. At this point, he's been here for weeks, right? Because since Tatis went out, that's been, how long has that been? I think it's over the last 40 plus games he's been out. I mean, maybe that's a little long. Certainly 30 plus games Tatis has been out. I think if you've gone that long with Bryce Johnson, I'm just gonna keep him here until Tatis returns. That's my guess on what they'll do. I don't know what Tirso has done here recently. I know he had put together a pretty productive season. I know he's young as well. And Johnson does some little things, including get picked off first base, which isn't good. But whatever. It's not a correlation. It's probably a coincidence. They're winning. He's here. You've let him be here for this long. I say just ride it out at this point until Tatis returns. That's just my 2 cents. I could make a very easy argument to make a change there. I'm sure they have a few options and there's other things you can consider, but I just credited Preller for putting together a 26-man roster with depth and with players that can help each and every position all across the roster. And I'm kind of arguing against that with Bryce Johnson, but whatever. It's position 26, so to speak, and everything's worked out pretty well with the other 25 players. SJL Stevens, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the super chat and the membership. He says, no ground gained in the division today, but so much more fun to watch this team. But, it's not just about the division, because we have to remember that in the grand scheme, like, everything is still possible for this team. They're not even, I made this point, I think it was yesterday on John and Jim. Not only have I not ruled out the division, I'm not even ruling out the best record in the National League. And again, you got to walk before you run. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I'm not putting that outside the realm of possibility. Why would I? Phillies lost today to Arizona. I could argue the merits of wanting the Phillies to beat Arizona because of the division and the wild card, but I'm good with it either way. One of those two teams is losing, so you benefit, I think, in the league from the Phillies losing overall. You benefit from the Braves losing to the Rockies here today. The Mets lost today, right? Like, so there's some things that are really good from a Padres perspective that are happening right now around the major leagues and the National League. So all you do is keep winning, and the rest is going to take care of itself. I promise you that. And you win at this rate, then everything is going to take care of itself. I'm talking about everything is going to take care of itself. So I'm not ruling out anything. Division, top record in the National League. Again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm just saying, why would we say it's not possible when we're watching this team play in the manner in which they're playing? And they're playing like miraculously right now. So I'm not going to rule anything out. And I don't think you should either, until there's a reason to rule something out. CJ Aztec Hoops, appreciate you, man. I was talking some Aztec Hoops earlier today on John and Jim with Dave Velasquez, longtime assistant. He says, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing this, and thank you for contributing. I mean, that's where we are right now, folks. 25-20, they got 90 wins. 25-20, and the Padres finished with 90 wins. Let me just look at the standings again real quick. So San Diego is 65-52. You go 90-72. Why is that math not working for me? 90-72. 90-72 by going 25-20. So let's think about that. What about 26-19? Right? 91 wins, 27-18. Like these are all possible, right? It's possible. That's not a stretch, is it? I'm not saying 35-10. 35-10 is 100 wins, most in the history of the franchise. 33-12 ties the most wins in the history of the franchise. Now that's a stretch for me still. That's crazy baseball. I mean, that's no slump anywhere in there. No 2-game losing streak, or nothing more than a 2-game losing streak over the last 45 games. But I'll play the game of 25-20 and shoot, I could go one better than that. I can be convinced of 26 wins, 27 wins, 28 wins. I can be convinced of it based on how they're playing right now. I really can. Richard, appreciate you, man. You've been a long-time supporter of the channel, despite your allegiance. He says, super chat from Dodger Stadium. I'm a huge Merrill fan. It's his award to win or lose. Thank you, Richard. I know Padres fans appreciate that. He's just earned it. But listen, it's not that Paul Skeens hasn't, but I got to stack up resumes here. And doesn't winning play a role in the equation? And doesn't playing play a role? Skeens didn't get to the big leagues until May. He might be shut down in September. Merrill's been here since day one, switched positions, is going to hit 20 home runs. Tonight, we haven't even talked about it. I mean, 3 for 4. We've talked all night about the homer. He tripled. He made some phenomenal defensive plays in this game. He does everything for this team. So, he's not a one-trick pony, nor is Paul Skeens. Make no mistake. But, you're going to compare Jackson Merrill, who's going to play 160 games. I'm making it up, 155 games for this team. He's going to hit 20 plus home runs. He's stealing bases. He's making plays defensively. He's going to lead this team to potentially 90 or more wins. And Paul Skeens is going to be on a 77-win team and get shut down in September and throw 120 innings. And that's better than what Jackson Merrill's done? No, I'm sorry. It's not. It's not to say Skeens hasn't had a good year. Merrill has had a better one, in my opinion. And I still think he's on the outside looking in for Rookie of the Year, but I do think it's a possibility, and I think the tides may turn with this. I really do. If Merrill continues to put the pressure on, I think the tides may turn with this, but I do not think it's his to win or lose, unfortunately, based on the national narrative and perspective on Paul Skeens. And we got to change that. And people nationally better be paying attention. I don't think they are. I think we're paying attention, but I don't think national writers are paying attention. It's on us to make people aware of what Jackson Merrill is doing, because if we don't make them aware, I don't know if they're going to be aware, to be honest with you. Sarah, what's going on, Sarah? Appreciate you. Always do. She says, Jackson Merrill's shirt purchase, what a ride. That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's smart. I really do. I mean, if for nothing else, what he's meant to this team just in 2024, let alone what he could mean to this team in 2025 through 2036. We have no idea. But on this season alone, on the last 2 months alone, he's worth your support. I mean, he's worth the purchase, right? As Jim would say, jersey in the cart. I think it's a smart addition to the wardrobe, Sarah. I think you'll be rocking it probably pretty soon on the Mesa and at Petco Park, and appreciate your super chat. Look at this. Look at this. Can we get some clap emojis? We've had a few of these $50 supers over the last few nights. People are excited, and we appreciate the support. We're here each and every day and night for you on the wrap-up show, John and Jim, even though Jim's not. He bailed. He went to Italy for a wedding. Soft. But we're here each and every night for you, and we really do appreciate it, Will. This is very generous. Appreciate everyone that is here right now, live or on replay, and your support of this channel, whether it's with the super chats by clicking the $sign below the chat box, or by just subscribing to the channel or just liking this video right now. We've had a number of you subscribe here tonight. We've had a number of you like this video, and thank you so much for the super chats. Let's get some clap emojis, all right, in the chat for longtime viewer and supporter Will Duca. Will, thank you. He says, a real solid start from Martin Perez to keep the team in the game. Also, what a slide from Tyler Wade. Literally put his body on the line. He did. Absolutely. No question about it. Need to keep the foot on the gas. LFG. Let's fucking go. Well said, Will. Well, again, this, we get so carried away. It's so easy to... It's like you watch football and all they talk about is the quarterback. Like, oh, this quarterback's career record is 80 and 82. I'm like, well, it's not only the quarterback that determines whether a team is going to win or lose. Based on everything I'm talking about tonight, I'm like, Jackson Merrill is the reason that they won, right? Well, that's not true, obviously. You're not in that position without Martin Perez and the bullpen. You're not in that position with some of the plays that were made over the course of the game defensively. You're not in that position without Manny Machado's double in the 8th inning, right? You're not in a position without scoring 4 runs there in the 10th inning. So, like, it takes a team, it takes a village, right? But the lead is Jackson Merrill, and the lead is what Jackson Merrill is doing. I mean, I'm reading quotes in Kevin Acey's post-game article tonight where you got guys like Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts that are in awe of what Jackson Merrill is doing right now. They're in awe of Jackson Merrill. Isn't that amazing? The 21-year-old who had never played in the outfield professionally, Manny Machado is in awe of. That's how ridiculous he has been during this, not just 2024 season, but this more recent binge really over the last 2 months, and certainly here over the last couple of weeks as well. So, I mean, let me read off another stat from Sarah Langs, okay? MLB researcher. Jackson Merrill has 4 game tying or go-ahead home runs in the 9th inning or later this season, tied for the most by a rookie in a season in the expansion era. That goes back to 1961. The only other player to do that, Adolis Garcia in 2021. That's the list. Going back to 1961, 65 years ago, essentially. Okay, so we have that. I mean, there's just so much. There's just so much. The team with the 9th inning comebacks, Merrill with everything we've said about him here tonight. And I don't know. I think we're going to look back on the season from Jackson Merrill and be like, wow, right? It's not just one of the great rookie seasons in Padres history. It's going to go down as one of the better seasons in Padres history because of the meaningful moments he's had. You don't just have 4 game tying or go-ahead home runs in the 9th inning. Like, guys might do that in their career. I don't think that's overstating it. You have 4 in 100 games as a rookie? Like, give me a break. That's beyond clutch. That's to the, like, level of Superman, superhero type stuff out of Jackson Merrill. I don't know if he did. I wasn't watching it either, Arthur, and I was out at dinner. I got family in town. I was putting my son to sleep. I don't know if there was an update. If someone has an update, if they could put it in the chat. We got an update on Luis Arraez in Spanish. Dennis Lynn translated it. I spoke with the media, said he had a torn ligament in his left thumb. He's been dealing with it since the All-Star break. He didn't play. Of course, as we know, he was in the All-Star game, but didn't play. So listen, they're a little bit of the walking wounded. Maybe teams just are this time of year, right? Maybe teams just are. I don't know if they're dealing with more than most teams, but they're dealing with some real things. Again, Musgrove, it's been 2.5 months. Arraez playing through stuff. Profar obviously playing through stuff. Manny all year playing through stuff. Darvish, personal matter, but he's out, so that's significant. Tatis, you're talking about a real deal injury. Kevin saying he'll still have, he's still going to have that stress reaction when he returns. He's not going to be fully recovered from that when he returns, but they're optimistic they're going to get him back. So, they're doing it not against all odds, although you're kind of doing it against all odds when you come back from deficits in the ninth inning, 3 consecutive games. What are the odds of that? I wish I had the math in front of me. There's books on this, but let's say the odds of winning when entering the ninth inning trailing by 1 run are 1 in 9. Is that reasonable? That might be too low. That might be too. You get my point. Let's just say there's a 12.5% chance it might even be high, but let's just say you have a 12.5% chance of winning a game when trailing by 1. Not more than 1. More than 1, your odds are much lower. But let's just say you have a 1 in 8 chance of winning a game when trailing by 1 entering the ninth inning. That means if that is the case, 12.5%, then times that by 12.5%. That's the odds of doing it back-to-back days. So what's 0.12 times 0.12? Let me do this. And again, my math is kind of faulty because I'm making it up, but I think you're getting the point here. Here are the odds of what the Padres just did. And this is just overcoming 1-run deficits, I guess. But 0.12 times 0.12 is happening 1.4% of the time. And that's if it's happening 12.5% of the time a team overcomes a 1-run deficit in the ninth inning. That's probably high. But to do it on back-to-back days or in back-to-back games, then should happen 1.4% of the time. Now, to make it a 3rd consecutive game, which had never happened in the history of the Padres in all these years, the odds of that are 0.017%. So it's happening about 1 in 1,000 to 2 in 1,000. Again, my math is probably off there. That's probably high. You essentially have a 1 in 1,000 chance of completing that task if you're entering 3 consecutive games trailing by 1 run and you end up winning those games. And I think I shot high in the overall percent. I think you're somewhere in that 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 5,000 would be the odds of doing something like that. Hence the fact that they've never done it in the history of the franchise. But that's the rarefied air we're talking about with the things that they're doing right now. Again, in any one season, of course, you're going to overcome a 1-run deficit in the ninth inning to win. Every team in baseball has probably done it this year, including the White Sox. They've got their 27, 28 wins. They likely have a win when trailing in the ninth inning, would be my guess. So if they all don't have a win when trailing in the ninth inning, 29 of the 30 teams probably have a win when trailing in the ninth inning, but to do it on 3 consecutive days is unheard of. Literally for the Padres, because they've never done it. So truly, we had never heard of such a thing until tonight. That one, Homie's Garage, thank you for the super. He says, Rich Hill buried us last year and trades are working this year. I love our bullpen. Yeah, the trades have worked marvelously, beginning all the way back in March. Dylan Cease, who has turned on the Jets here in the second half and has gotten into the Cy Young conversation. Luis Arraez, yes, he's been nicked up, but has played a big role. And then the Jason Adam, the Tanner Scott, whatever else, Martin Perez, right? The waiver wire pickups, the Peraltas, the Estradas, the Solanos, right? I'm missing Profar in February for $1 million, right? You add it all up. And AJ Preller, I've said this here recently, because what's fair is fair. We're critical of AJ when the team doesn't win, and that's reasonable and fair. He's a public figure. He's paid well. It's his job. You either do it successfully or you don't. And in years where he didn't do it successfully, he was called out appropriately, in my opinion, by media and fans, including John and Jim on the wrap-up show. But in a year like this, he deserves a ton of credit, even though I don't know how this all ends. I'm telling you right now, like we saw from that super chat earlier, this team's 25-20 away from 90 wins. I'm not replacing my general manager off a 90-win season or anything close to it, truthfully. And I don't care what happens in the postseason, even though we all care what happens in the postseason. But I'm saying I cannot replace my general manager coming off a 90-win season if I'm the San Diego Padres organization. It just makes absolutely no sense. Don't you want some continuity with your coaching staff? Like you've turned over managers like we flip burgers, right, on the grill. Keep Mike Schilt around maybe for a third year or a fourth season. That's not with regularity here with San Diego. Obviously, Preller's been here, right? He's been a constant. But now you're going to make a change because they win 90 games and play the best baseball in the majors in the second half of the season, but they don't win in the postseason in a hypothetical? No, you can't make that change. That just doesn't make any sense. Why would you make that change? Like, give me a legitimate well, you got to win in the postseason, John. I mean, AJ Preller's done his job for all the reasons that we talked about, from Arraez and Cease and some of the on the fringes pickups, and then some of the significant moves he's made here at the trade deadline. He's done his job, plain and simple. Like he can kind of, like his work's done. I hate to say it. Like, what work do you want him to do from August 10th on with this team? He can't pull those strings anymore. The strings have been pulled. There'll be minor moves, guys up and down, right? Randy Vasquez for Johnny Brito. They need help in that bullpen because of all the innings that have been eaten by the bullpen on this road trip because of the rain, et cetera, the extra inning games. Okay, yeah, he's going to keep this team in a position to keep them healthy and fresh and positioned for each and every game. That's the job of every general manager in the major leagues. But he's done his work. He's done all of his work, and he's done it with high marks. I'm not saying he's done the best job in baseball this year, but he's done a very good job. I'm not saying they're going to win the most games in baseball, but they may win in the top 5 teams in baseball. They're 4.5 games outside of the best record in the major leagues right now. He deserves credit and praise, and so does this team, and so does Mike Schilt. And I think that's completely fair and reasonable. And I think that to kind of argue that is to kind of be yelling at a cloud, just like to argue the point that the Padres can't win the division because the Dodgers are the Dodgers is, in my opinion, I got to be careful how I say it. I just don't think it's accurate. I don't think it's accurate. I respect a lot of people that do this for a living. I don't happen to agree with a lot of people's opinions. But like sometimes you got to change your tune. Like you heard what I said about Jackson Merrill leading up to the season. I thought it was a tall order for him to contribute in a big way to a team that was trying to get to the postseason and play every single day. I was dead wrong. And I've said it 10 times over the course of the season that I'm dead wrong. And I take, it was my opinion. I got it wrong. I'm fully willing to admit that. So I think sometimes you got to change your tune when you're seeing something play out in front of your eyes, because that's what happens with sports. All right, I'm going to get back to it in a moment. I do want to remind our viewers about our new partner here on the Wrap-Up Show. They've been with us a couple of months. Great company, Mova Globes. Look at these things. I got the Padres officially licensed globe. Whoa. Man, the solo shows, guys. Got this Earth globe as well. Mova Globes, this technology, which is these globes spin automatically with artificial or natural light. There are no cords here, no batteries, no nothing. All right. This is technology based, has to do with like the curvature of the Earth and the rotation of the Earth or the sun. I don't get any of it. But the technology was invented right here in San Diego, North County. In fact, Cardiff by the Sea. I was actually up there earlier today, not at Mova Globes, but at Cardiff by the Sea. If you want them, grab them. Use promo code PWS10. That's exclusive for our viewers. You're going to get 10% off. So click that link in the description down below. Use promo code PWS10, Padres Wrap-Up Show 10, PWS10. You'll get 10% off. These are great gift ideas. All right. They have all 30 major league teams, by the way, and they got so many different planets and globes for you to check out by clicking that link in the description down below. So pick these up. Great gift idea. Great for a home office or a work office. Your kids are going to love them. My wife loves it. My 5-year-old son thinks this thing is the coolest thing ever, the Earth globe. So if you've been thinking about these, if you've been watching them, ever since Mova Globes came on board, this team is like red hot, probably the hottest team in baseball. So pick them up. Well, you can right now. Hold on. Let me put these things down. Click that link in the description down below. All right. There we go. Don't forget PWS 10 at 10% to whoever we're playing day of purchase. Michael, can you explain more? For a second, Michael's with Mova Globes. He's in the chat. And while he's here, let me pull these puppies up for our viewers on screen as well, even though I just showed them to you. There they are, spinning in their glory, those puppies. It's beauties. Look at those. Look at those things. I mean, honestly, I want all 30 teams because I just think it'd be cool. Like collector's item. I want to put them like in the order of the division race. And when the Padres pass the Dodgers, I'm moving that globe over, right? Like I like kind of like at Wrigley, they put the pennants up based on the standings, right? That's what I need. I need that in my life. And I'm sure there's somebody out there, Michael, that has all 30, would be my guess, because you got a lot of collectors out there and baseball fans. But again, maybe you're a Padres fan and your, brother's a Cubs fan. Pick up a Cubs one. Give it to him for his birthday or for baseball season or for spring training or for World Series or whatever it is, Let's see here. Did he follow up? Yeah, good point. I said they've been amazing since Mova Globes came on board. It's true. They started 0-5. From that point on, since that 5-game losing streak, though, Michael, they're like, I don't even know, like 28-12 or something ridiculous. So I'm giving Mova Globes as the good luck charm, truthfully. Oh, yeah, it's funny. Yeah. That honestly, if you could do that for our viewers, that'd be hilarious. So it's 10% off for every team, except if you use the promo code, the price of the Dodgers Globe doubles. Forget the Dodgers Globe. Honestly, we should have a special link for the wrap-up show that if you click on it, you can see all 29 teams but the Dodgers. Like that. That's what we should do here on the wrap-up show. But thank you, Michael. Appreciate you, my friend. Big time supporter of the channel and our work. Yes. Yeah. Let's get a giveaway. Michael, make this happen. Can we give away 40,000 of these puppies? Come on. There's not a lot of cost in that, is there? It's just 40,000 globes at cost, right? That's only going to maybe bankrupt the company, but it would be pretty cool if 40,000 people walked away with Mova Globes at Petco Park. They've got some good giveaways. That would probably be the best giveaway in the history of the franchise, truthfully. Let me look at this box score real quick. I was on the air for 2 hours this game. I was at dinner for some of this game. This was an incredible game because it didn't feel like it was going to be an incredible game. That's what kind of makes it even more incredible. But you've got a night where you held Miami to 4 hits. And again, the bullpen did its thing. Brian Hoeing against his former team, scoreless, hitless inning. Jason Adam, back in Florida, had been with Tampa Bay, 2 strikeouts in a scoreless inning. Tanner Scott, a scoreless inning. Martin Perez, we've talked about, 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, 2 runs. I think you take it every single day. Padres were 4 for 19 with men in scoring position. I think they started 0 for 10. They ended up being 4 for 19. Good enough. I mean, 19 opportunities. I'll take that every day of the week. You get 19 opportunities. You're winning a lot of games because you're batting 19 times with men in scoring position. That means you're scoring a lot and winning a lot of games. Marlins had 4 hits. They were 1 for 5 with men in scoring position. They hit 2 solo home runs. They were in this game because of Edward Cabrera, who was terrific, even though he hasn't been this year. 7 scoreless innings. And then they called upon, is it Greg Soriano? They called upon George Soriano in the 8th. I mean, just because they had no one else available. And they're like, hey, go get a 2-out save. Yeah, that failed miserably. And then the dude they claimed off waivers, Brett DeGoose or DeGus or whatever his name was awful. Was absolutely awful. Padres took advantage a little bit there in the 10th inning as well. And I think they deserve to win the game. I really do, because they got the big hit in the 9th inning. They held Miami to 4 hits. They stayed within arm's reach, right? They never allowed Miami to, it never got to a 3rd run or a 4th run. You would have been in a tough spot. It's tough to score at Marlins Park. It's not the greatest hitter's yard in baseball. There's no atmosphere. There's no one there. And despite all that, the Padres came back to win from 2-0 down in the 8th inning, and they came back to win it again 6-2 here tonight. All right, let's reset. Subscribe, please. All right. We're trying to get to 6,800 subscribers. I feel like every single time people are subscribing to this channel, the winning just continues, and we're pushing 6,800 subscribers. One day, this thing's getting to 10,000 fans. When this team wins the World Series, whenever that is, we're going to get past 10,000 subscribers. I promise you that, because I know there's tens of thousands of people watching because we have the data, and a lot of you that watch haven't yet subscribed. So if you've been thinking about it, I mean, why wouldn't you? So please subscribe, and appreciate those that have contributed with super chats here tonight. We really do appreciate those. If you want to get them in, we still have time for you. Like Alejandro, just click that $ below the chat box. He says, shout out to the, I don't even know how to say this, Alejandro. Is it Trajinara Padres hat? This is from, okay, so I was in Mexico City last year when the Padres played the Giants, and I couldn't get this hat that I saw people wearing that was sold in the team store in Mexico City because they were all sold out. By the time I got in the team store, they had every single Giants item was available. Every Giants t-shirt, hat, collectible was available because 80% of the fans in the ballpark, it might have been more than that, because some of you were probably there, 85% of the fans. If you're splitting it, it was like 85-15 Padres to Giants. So all the Padres stuff was gone. And I was like so upset. I'm like, man, I really want. There was like this off-white T-shirt I thought was so dope. This hat was being worn. Like this hat is incredible. Is it because of the boats, Alejandro? Because I went on the boats when I was in Mexico City. Is that what this is? Is this an homage to like the boats? You know what I'm talking about? Like in the canals or whatever that is in Mexico City. That was my first time in the city. I thought it was spectacular. I can't wait to go back, truthfully. Although my wife got sick. And yeah, so I really wanted this hat. Well, anyway, I walked into Billion Creations about a month ago, which is an amazing spot, right? Down in Chula or IB. And they had the hat. I'm like, I have to have it. Like, because I'd been basically looking for it for a year and I'd kind of forgotten about it. And I'm like, I need this hat. So you guys know me. I have like, I don't even know. My wife wants to kill me. I probably have. I'm not kidding, with Parks and Normal and with like New Era and On Field and All-Star Game. You guys have, I mean, I don't wear like 85% of my Padres hats probably on the wrap-up show, or I probably haven't worn 90% of them in the last 12 months. How many Padres hats do you guys think I have? I mean, it's probably 45. I don't think I'm overselling it. I mean, it's 35 plus. It's 35 plus. And I mean, I probably at one point will have 100 plus, if I'm guessing, because I love hats. So, you know, I can't wait to go back actually to Billion or Parks and Normal and get more, because there's like, you can't have too many. I love them. So yeah, I appreciate you. I don't know how to say that though. So, and let me know what it means. If you know like the symbolism or meaning on the hat, I'm going to go over to the chat real quick and see if anyone's following up on it. And thank you, by the way, for subscribing. Do appreciate that. Maybe, possibly. But yeah, if someone knows the symbolism or meaning behind the cap, let us know, or put it in the comments down below if you're watching on replay. I'd appreciate it. Victron 714, thank you. Should we be worried about Arraez torn ligament? Honestly, I'm not, because I've kind of watched, like I'll pull up his day by day here. Again, he's kind of come back to earth, as we've talked about routinely. I remember I've been saying it. I'm like, there's something wrong with Luis Arraez, and everyone kind of like, they're like, well, I don't know, maybe he's just not hitting, and people kind of like discounted it. I've been saying it since the second I saw it. I'm watching him, and he doesn't look like the same player. Again, he's still, because he's so damn good, he's so damn talented with the bat, he's still going to come through, right? He's still going to, like, you're not going to keep this guy hitless. But again, I think someone said since the All-Star break, he was 262 coming into tonight. So, you know, he hasn't been his normal self. I think that's fair to say. And, you know, tonight 1 for 5. So that would drop his 262 like a point or two, probably since the All-Star break. So it was like 260 hitter since the All-Star break, which is, again, like, it's fine. It's fair. You'd hope for more out of your leadoff hitter that's Luis Arraez. Like, you want this guy hitting 290 at a minimum. But I'm not, I mean, worried, I don't think is the right word. Concerned, maybe. I'm not worried. Not with this way the team is playing. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to trust kind of that, I don't know, you know, he's able to manage it with that training staff, and there's some level of improvement. Although torn ligament, I just don't know enough about it. Like, is he going to have to undergo surgery at the end of the year to repair it? Is he going to have to rehab it significantly in the offseason? Like, what's the recovery like, and how do you get that thing back? I just don't know. Yeah, they are the boats. Thank you. I went on those. Yeah, I went on those when we were in Mexico City. And that was a super cool experience for me and my wife. I thought that was really cool. It took us forever to get there. We got like lost in like Ubers, or I don't even know how the hell we got there in the end. But it was one of the highlights definitely of the trip. Yeah, he's been playing through the injury. I have no idea if he's going to need surgery. But like, I mean, I kind of give him even more credit. The guy's hit with this torn ligament. Again, 260 since the break. He's been better than that since he tore this thing. He's probably hit 280 since he tore. Think about that. I mean, that is an impossibility to think about. Like, this guy who's such a bat handler, kind of a wizard with the bat, and it's clearly taken away some of that wizardry, if that's a word, wizardry. A torn ligament in his thumb? Like, that's a big part of hitting. That's a big part of hitting, obviously. Any part of the hand. When you're such a, you know, hand-eye bat-to-ball hitter, right? A placement hitter. Like, again, it's like you're tying one hand behind his back, essentially, or a portion of one hand behind his back, yet he's still able to contribute. Again, not contribute the same way he was when he first got here, but he's contributing, and hopefully he continues too. And I mean, you sit this guy. I don't know if sitting him on the 10-day IL does anything. Does 10-day IL stint fix your thumb? He had 4 days for the All-Star break. Apparently didn't fix his thumb, but another 6 days have fixed his thumb. Or does he need to undergo some type of procedure? Or does he need more than 14 days? Does he need a lengthy rehab? Like someone's saying here, and I don't know if One Calf Scout's a doctor, but he's saying it won't heal without surgery. Listen, surgeries are commonplace, but at this point, it's going to happen in an off season. If that's the way to resolve it with surgery, it's not happening until this season's over, because you don't play through this thing for as long as he's played through it and then all of a sudden shut it down. And I don't want to see him be shut down, because I'd rather have this guy, hit 265 from here on out and, still stumble into 2-hit games than be without him for the rest of the year, because I think that we know he's important. We know he's critically important, and hopefully he can still pick things up even with the torn ligament. But it is a bit of a bummer to hear that from Luis Arraez. Like, I was hopeful that there was a healing going on, or he would get to the other side of it, but just add it to the list of injuries that the Padres have dealt with or overcome or tried to overcome here in 2024. It's a significant list. It really is. And we'll see if they can overcome this right now to Luis Arraez. Do want to remind you guys about our friends at Underdog Fantasy. How about that beautiful graphic right in front of my face? For Underdog Fantasy, if you use promo code PADSWRAP, that is PADSWRAP, you can take advantage of these NFL Week 1 discounts. They're going on right now at Underdog Fantasy. Click the link in the description down below or scan that QR code on the screen. Use promo code PADSWRAP. You get a free special pick. You get a 50% deposit match, and you get these Week 1 discounts. Like Anthony Richardson only has to throw for 183.5 passing yards as opposed to what it would be, 240, 250. CJ Stroud will be in the 300s. He only needs to throw for 247.5, so on and so forth. Jonathan Taylor, Stephon Diggs, and you can take advantage of those right now at Underdog. Use promo code PADSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. You see it on the screen right now. Free special pick up to $250 first-time deposit offer. 50% deposit match. Deposit $50, they'll give you $25. Deposit $500, they'll give you $250, their largest offer yet. Sign up now. So simple and easy to play and win. Padres Pick'ems. Play along tomorrow with us. Click that link in the description down below and make sure to use that promo code PADSWRAP. PADSWRAP. Again, PADSWRAP. Do want to do a shameless plug for a moment. If you haven't yet joined us on our Discord server, now is the time. You can continue that Padres conversation, and you can do so 24/7, 365. There's over 100 people now on our Discord server talking Padres baseball. If you want to sign up, it's free. You can join. Click the link pinned in the top of the live chat, or click the link in the description down below. Look at all this interaction just today here on the Wrap-Up Show Discord server. So check it out. Click that link in the description down below. Do it right now, whether you're here live or on replay. Would love to have you interact with us. It's the Wrap-Up Show community offline or off of the live stream, right? So if you want to continue those conversations and be more a part of our community, we'd love to have you join us. Again, it's going on right now on Discord. Click that link in the description down below. What else, guys? Honestly, we really should. What's up, Coastal Card Collector? I've been trying to collect, to be honest with you, a little bit, get my 5-year-old son into it. I did it in like the 90s, and I haven't done it since. And I have no idea how to get started from there. So let me know how I should get involved, or how I should, if you want. What else, guys? Because I feel like we haven't touched on everything, although we've touched on a lot, if that makes sense. Cool. Email me, PadresWrapUpShow@gmail.com. PadresWrapUpShow@gmail.com. Listen, this is going to be big time. I mean, it's got to be a playoff atmosphere. It has to be a playoff atmosphere. It's going to feel like it. All year it is. I mean, we're there, we're watching. There's 45,000 people. It's crazy, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's as good of a draw as there is in baseball, as good of an atmosphere as there's been in baseball here in 2024 and in recent history. But now it's like kind of the day they traded for Juan Soto, where it's like, it's the postseason. Like that day they traded for Soto and you're in the ballpark, it feels like the postseason. Like that's what I expect Monday to feel like. Yeah, I know it's the Pirates. It's not the Dodgers, not the Giants, not the Yankees, whatever. But like, that's what I want Monday to feel like. You got Joe Musgrove pitching for the first time in 3 months, and you're trending towards the postseason, maybe even towards the division title, maybe even towards the top of the National League. Like every game should be like a playoff game, in my opinion, from here on out at home. And they basically are. But that like ratcheted up additional level of fandom, intensity, living and dying on every pitch. Like, I feel like that's how it should be from here on out. And I have a feeling that's how it will be from here on out, truthfully. I really do. Charles Smith, thank you, man. I do appreciate your support of the channel. That means a lot. So thank you so much for it. He says, excuse me, been a fan since I was a little kid. I'm not 22, and I've seen the struggle we went through during Kemp times, but seeing them grow into this amazing team and seeing the growth has been amazing. Hashtag LFGSD. I love that. I mean, the benefit of perspective is basically everything to a fan. You know, it's like you have to kind of go through it to get to the other side. Not all fans of all franchises. Some teams just win, right? I mean, if you were a Giants fan in the 2010s, you've seen a lot of winning. You know, if you were a Red Sox fan this century, you've seen a lot of winning, and so on and so forth. You understand the point. But a lot of franchises, including, you know, San Diego franchises historically, whether you were a Chargers fan when you were younger or Padres fan now, you know, you haven't seen that promised land, right? So hopefully it's coming. Just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. Like, we have to remember that, right? Things change. That's why sports are so beautiful. Nothing is guaranteed to happen the way it has happened just because that's what happened in the past. Things change. And maybe we're watching one of those changes right now with what's going on with the Padres, and maybe not. Maybe this is their year. Maybe it isn't. But in real time, it feels like they've got a lot of things going for them. And that's why so many people are amped up for what's going on right now with this team. And I think you should be. And I hope people will continue to be, even if they drop a game or two. It's inevitable. The 162s, you know what I mean? There's going to be more adversity here. You got 45 games to go. There has to be adversity. If it's smooth sailing from here on out, wow. I mean, if it's just, you know, 30 and 15, take 2 out of every 3 consistently, nothing more than a 2-game losing streak, a couple of more 6-game winning streaks in there. Amazing. It's possible, but it might not be that straight line. It might not play out perfectly, or maybe they do get to 29 and 16 to close, but it includes a 3-game losing streak, or it includes losing a series to a quote unquote bad team. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good. And right now they're better than good, and they're trending towards great over the last 3 weeks. And even beyond that. And again, they've got the best record in baseball since April 30th. So it's hard to downplay what they've accomplished over a significant period of time. But thank you, Charles. Appreciate you. Really do. Appreciate everyone here tonight. Padres, we'll try to do it again on Saturday. We're back on Sunday night with the wrap-up show. We will be back to wrap up this series. Look ahead to that Pirates series. We didn't really touch on Jerks and Profar telling Kevin Acee today in the UT that he looks like a piñata because he feels like he's a piñata because he got hit so many times against the Pirates, and he's all like, you know, black and blue as a result of getting hit so many times. I don't know if there's retribution or not. They hit Brian Reynolds yesterday. It might have been with intent. I don't know if it's over and done with. Truthfully, I just want to see them win. Who knows? It's a conversation to maybe have Sunday night, certainly to have Monday night after game 1 of that Padres-Pirates series. I'm not overly concerned about it because the Padres are just winning. Do I need another Pirate to get hit to prove some point? Not really. I'd rather just see the Padres win all 3 games, and that seems to be the Mike Schilt way, not deal with it on field, or not deal with it eye for an eye, but just kind of take care of business on field. So it's worked to this point. It's gotten them 13 games over 500. So I'm all for potentially pursuing that path as opposed to, you know, getting the Pirates fired up and then giving them some reason to believe. And forget about that. Like, put them out of their misery, beat them 2 out of the next 3, if not more. You've already swept the Nationals in a season series. Why not do it to the Pirates as well? And let's see if they can sweep this series against the Marlins as well this weekend. Matt Waldron will throw Saturday. Dylan Cease will throw Sunday. We will see you 9:30 p.m. Sunday night on the wrap-up show. Will Jim be back? Stay tuned. I'll say no. Even though I think he'll technically be back, there's no chance in hell he'll be on the wrap-up show Sunday night because Jim is built different. And that's not in a good way. Will he be back Monday on the wrap-up show? If he's not, I'm literally going to take away his login and password, and I'm going to find a new host. And let me know who you'd like to see co-host the show once Jim is ejected from the show. Darnay, Ben Fadden, someone else. Put it in the chat. Moises, appreciate you, man. Very kind. Yeah, good point. The growl running around first, talking about Merrill, the crossing home plate. I can't remember a player with this much passion playing for the Padres. He's wired differently than most. All I know, Merrill is here and the club is meshing. I mean, Merrill is an amazing story. His season is a remarkable one. And we say it all the time. Where are they without Profar? Where are they without Cease? Where are they without Jackson Merrill? We got to say it. Got to be said. He's had so many clutch moments for this team, and they don't have this record, and they're not within striking distance of the Dodgers without Jackson Merrill, who is just the right player at the right time for this team. Simple as that, right? Bringing in that new energy, that new voice, that new perspective, and kind of, coupling it with these veteran leaders like Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and even a Fernando Tatis Jr., who right now is in the prime of his career. But Jackson Merrill is built differently than these guys, and it's just lightning in the bottle, and it's just gone perfectly. It's just gone perfectly, and hopefully it continues throughout the course of the year. But I think it's a good point. He's just infectious. He brings all this energy. He backs it up with his play, and he just proves people wrong all season long. It's like every single time you want to kind of, I don't know, not count him out. That's not the right way to put it. Like every single time you think he's not going to be impactful in a game is when he has the biggest impact on a game, including here tonight. Appreciate it, Moises. That was very kind of you. And appreciate the real Ricky Tan as well at the super chat, who says, we look great. Long-term talk. We are one position away from having an all-star at every position catcher. Interesting. I mean, shoot, Kyle Higashioka has played like an all-star catcher this year. I know that it might be an aberration. Luis Campusano, you would have liked to think that he could develop into a, top-line catcher in the National League. Debate's certainly out on that. But that's interesting. I mean, yeah, with the Bogarts and the Machados and the Cronenworths and the Kims and the Toddies and the Merrills and the Profars, it's a fair point. Your point's valid. I think your point is spot on. I mean, you've got players that have performed at a very high level across this lineup, and it's playing out in real time right now in 2024. JD Gaucho, as he likes to do late in shows, taking us OT off topic. U.S. France gold medal game, electric atmosphere. It'll be incredible. Paris, are you kidding me? France against the U.S. Kevin Durant's going to start in this game, apparently. It is on Saturday. I think the U.S. will find a way. I think they learn their lesson against Serbia, would be my guess, but we'll see. I think they'll get tested, but I do think eventually they'll win going away. I think it's a single-digit game in the second half. Could be a single-digit game in the fourth quarter. I think eventually U.S. wins by 15-plus points on Saturday. Hope I'm right. I would like to see Team USA win another gold in men's basketball here in the 2024 Olympics. Let's see here, guys. I just want to look at the end of the chat. See if there's anything else to get to before we get out of here tonight. I think it's going to do it. I think that's going to do it for tonight. And yeah, good point on Salas. Soon. Not tomorrow, not 2025, maybe not 2026 in terms of like all-star caliber. I mean, we could be years away, but soon emoji on Ethan Salas, hopefully. And I know he's starting to play better as well right now in the minor leagues. Okay, guys, you know the deal. Please subscribe. We're here for you all year long, in season, out of season, when things are good, when things are bad. Please subscribe. Whether you're home for Padres content, smash the like button for us. We'd love to get to 500 likes on this video. Follow me on X at John Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER. Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay. We do appreciate that. Jackson, I appreciate you. Everyone that's here live or on replay, appreciate you. Really do. Can't do it without you. It's as simple as that. And please support our partners. I see the supers coming in. I'll get to them. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. We're not here without him. I don't think we ever get the channel off the ground without Mark, truthfully. So if you support us, support Mark. Next time you have an insurance need, just call him. He's the easiest guy in the world to talk to. He'll talk to you for 22 minutes about the Padres and then be like, what do you want to do with your insurance? Mova Globes, use promo code PWS10, get 10% off, right? Our friends at Mova Globes, Michael and the crew right here. Here's one, officially licensed through MLB. And Underdog Fantasy, if you want that 50% deposit match, the free special pick, and the NFL discounts for week one, click that link in the description down below. And remember to use promo code PODSWRAP. That is PADSWRAP. Again, PADSWRAP. Great crowd, by the way, on a Friday night. Appreciate you guys. People have things to do. You got lives probably. And appreciate you hanging out with us here tonight. Moises, appreciate you. He says, John, are we setting up a GoFundMe for Jim? I joked about it on Twitter. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't want to see people actually. Well, I kind of do. I mean, if everyone that watched the wrap-up show this month gave $20 to a GoFundMe for Jim to stay in Europe, and we get like 60 or 70,000 views in a month on this channel, So like $20 times 60 grand is what? Like $20 times 60,000 people is what? Like a $1.2 million? Am I doing the math right on that? I don't think I am. No, that's not right. It's a lot, right? Calculator. Hold on. I get lost in that. I love math, but when it starts getting a lot of zeros, 20 times like 60,000 views. If every view was worth $20, we would have 1.2 million bucks for Jim. So he could just stay in Italy is the point. He can get a place. We'll just give him 1.2 million and be like, stay away. Just take the 1.2 million, spend $2,000 a month on rent. You're good for hopefully a decade. And we'll hear from you when we hear from you. So it's like it takes a village to build a home for Jim in Italy, and he can stay there and maybe check it on his phone occasionally. Appreciate you, Moises. Yeah. All right, guys, join us Sunday night on the wrap-up show. We will wrap up this Padres road trip and this 3-game series against the Marlins down at Lone Depot Park. And then, of course, we'll get you ready for Monday as well. Padres coming back home to take on the Pirates at Petco, the return of Joe Musgrove. Appreciate everyone here live or on replay. Padres win again in remarkable fashion tonight over the Marlins in South Florida, 6-2 in 10 innings. Appreciate everyone. We will see you on Sunday night. For Swiss Jim, I'm John. This has been the Wrap-Up Show.